Okay guys, we are here in Malpensa to test the brand new Honda CRF 2025 models. I'm really excited because this is a European premiere, so we get the chance to try the bikes before they arrive on the market in November, at least for the Italian market. But let's start seeing what are the main differences compared to the 2024 models. To start with, the frame has 70% of it different from last year's model. That's a huge changement. For Honda, the focus has been stability. They really wanted to upgrade the stability of the bike because we all know the history of Honda. Frames have always been some of the most rideable and easy to handle on the motocross market, but stability wise it's been a bit inferior to other manufacturers. So this year they focused a lot on that, not so much on the engine. So we have slight changes because on both bikes, the 250 and 450, the airbox is completely changed. There is much more ventilation. Also the header pipe of the exhaust is different, and on the 250 also the crankshaft is different. This in theory has improved the power curve at the top RPM, so at the top level when you're really pushing. Clearly, together with these modifications, also some brand new ECU maps are present on the bike. There is a new map switch where you can select 3 different maps: normal, a smooth and an aggressive, and at the same time you can also select the traction control available on 3 different levels. And last but not least, also the launch control for the start can be set at 3 different RPMs where it will cut off the power and give you the maximum traction. The 250 and 450 have the same identical frame, the same suspensions. The new 49mm Showa forks have a brand new oil, brand new sealings. Also the triple clamps have changed together with the front section of the frame, and the side part of the frame is the one that received the biggest upgrade, together with the linkage where we have our rear shock. The linkage has changed completely, as you'll see now here on these slides, and it's much quicker to disassemble to take off. With all these modifications, the Honda engineers have calculated that there is a 27% reduction of lateral movement of the bike. And in a minute I'll tell you more about what were my feelings riding, because even if they have the same frame, for me, stability wise, I felt quite a bit of difference between the 2 bikes, and I'll tell you which I enjoyed most. Also, the plastics have changed. The rear fender, the front mudguard, front number plate are the same. Same goes with the tank and the seat, but the side panels and the radiator shrouds have changed, and I think this is an underestimated upgrade, but I'll tell you about it in a minute. Another big change comes from the front Nissin brake caliper. It has been re-engineered, and also with the disc cover there is a much better airflow going to the disc. A very important detail is that now the bike is slightly lower, so less high, and it's slightly longer. We are speaking about 1 millimeter and not really much, but this translates in a different feeling compared to the 2024 model. But now let's not lose time and get in the track and go full throttle. Okay guys, now we just finished the morning session with the 250 CRF4R here on the track of Malpensa, a very fast track, a fun track. First sensation is that Honda, with this new frame, because the frame is 70% of the frame is different compared to the 2024 model, I think they managed to maintain their DNA, what they're best known for, their history. Honda has always had a very easy and intuitive frame to ride. This is the same also on this new model with an added stability on the fast sections and on the fast rutty turns. Even though I must say one thing, this morning when I did the first session, I felt the steering was a bit too loose, which is okay if you're in a very tight track, but in a track like this where we reach really fast speeds, I felt I needed a bit more stability. I mean, it was this weird feeling because I felt the bike that I had more control on the bike, but at the same time I felt the front end wobbly a bit. But then when we tightened the steering stem, this sensation vanished and I really felt a stable bike, especially when you're going into turns that are very slippery and you're looking for the berm and you want to let the bike slide. It's like you have some moments where you almost don't have control of the bike. There, the bike was acting very linear and giving me confidence to push more and more. Engine-wise, the new airbox, the new camshafts and the new exhaust has improved from the medium range RPM towards up, but it lost a bit at the low RPM. What I mean is, if we always keep the right gear, the bike has more torque, it's faster, you feel it pushing more, especially up these steep uphills. But if we go in a turn in the wrong gear, then it's a bit more difficult to catch back RPMs and you need to start playing with the clutch. Something I must say that I didn't expect was the plastics. You know, sometimes we look at motorbike plastics and you just think, okay, it's just a new design. In reality, this is a new design that has some function, and I want to show you. You see this area here? I loved it here because on certain bikes you always catch like your boot or your knee brace on some edge. Here it's very flat, and this made me move on the bike easily. Like even the number plate, which is something underestimated, but we have the exhaust on this side, so usually on one side we have the bike that's wider, but the feeling with these plastics is like I don't have an exhaust, so I was able to really move easily on the bike. And I prefer this new radiator shroud. I mean, it still needs to sink in a bit from a design point of view because I like sharper edges of the previous model, but in reality, from the riding perspective, this is much better. When you bring your leg out, the bike feels really slim, and in situations like here where you saw there were some deep ruts, it really helped to keep the leg high and close to the bike. Okay guys, we are here. I'm basically, you can see they're watering the track. I'm the last guy to leave the track. This should make you understand what my feelings were with the 450. And you know, for me, for my body type, I'm 183 centimeters tall, even though the bikes are at the same height and they're a bit lower compared to last year's model. But I don't know, the power, everything, I preferred much more the 450. And on the 450, I felt more the improvement from the frame stability and the reduction of 27% of lateral movement. In particular, you have situation in a track like today where you're entering the turn at fast speeds and you have a berm and you're at that center point where you need to leave the bike just flow. Like you need to lose almost control with the bike and make it slide with both wheels on the berm. And for me, that was the best feeling if I compare it to last year's model. I just felt safe. I had a big confidence. But I believe this is not only from the frame side, but there's something very important I have to say, and I'm the first one that I do this mistake. Today we had the Showa technicians and we had one bike for the whole day, so a 250 and a 450. We weren't swapping bikes, and the Showa technicians were doing the proper sag every time on our weight, and I believe that played a fundamental part in the overall feeling of the bike, because I always felt I had a good traction. On the 450 I went with the smoother map, so with map 2, and I also activated the traction control on level 2. For me, this was the smoothest riding, and with having certain turns with very deep ruts, and some were very sharp, you know, halfway through the turn they would just cut. I really had a positive feeling on the flow of the bike. Comparing it to the 250, where I felt clearly on the low RPM that you always had to have the perfect gear. On the 450 you can make some mistakes and have you know, keep the same gear even if you're going low on the RPM, but then it always catches and it does it with a smooth power curve. That's something that was already present on the 2024 model, but you feel it even more on the 2025 model. It just lets you ride with good momentum without having sharp acceleration that gets you a lot tired and also sometimes lets you lose control. With today, the heat was just like being in the desert. The new front Nissin caliper, we really tested it hard because coming down all these downhills, you would really go on the brake. And on the 450, I didn't have that feeling I had with the 250 where it was a bit too loose at the start. So on the 450, the bike felt more stable on the front end, especially entering these turns. You know, when you go and grab the front brake and you transfer all the weight on the front wheel, it was really going in like a knife, you know, in these ruts. Generally, even the 2024 model for me was a great bike. If you have a 2024 model and you're thinking of upgrading to the 2025 model, in my opinion, it's worth it, because for me, the biggest thing is feeling safe when I'm riding, feeling that I have a good confidence, that I can try things. And that's the feeling I had today with both bikes, where I felt comfortable going out of my comfort zone, if you know what I mean. These bikes will be available in November, at least here in Italy. Another big improvement is the plastics, but I already told you about that. Some things have stayed the same, so the rear mudguard, the front mudguard, the front number plate, seat and tank are the same, but as I mentioned, the frame is 70% different from the previous model. For me, it was just a lovely bike, and I'm giving you this feedback because truly I'm thinking of getting one. So we'll see if I'll get a CRF450 2025 model. Okay guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. If you like the CRF 2025 models, be sure to subscribe to the channel, to follow me on Instagram for live content of when we come here to press launches. Like today, I posted some onboard video, and stay tuned because I'll see you soon with another bike test. Ciao!